What's up, guys and gals? Welcome back to another video. Actually, this video is long overdue, but life got in the way, and I ended up traveling to Kenya and then getting busy with work. But I wanted to make this video to give you some useful tips to know when you're traveling to Egypt. And before I get into the content, please go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button to be notified when I upload new videos. And this has been a good journey, creating content, sharing it with you all, answering all the questions that you all have. And I look forward to 2022 and where things will go and where I'll go and see and share with you all. So as you're aware, Egypt is an Arabic speaking country. You will meet plenty of people, and mainly in the cities, who speak, especially Cairo, who speak English. But it's also good to know some of the basic phrases just in case you come across someone who's just not quite understanding you, or the person doesn't speak English at all. You can at least use some basic phrases or even hand signals to figure out where something is, a simple greeting, or ask simple questions. Assalamu alaikum, Kamfil, Masalema, and so on. So just knowing those basic phrases will help you out. You can grab a phrase book, you can search the internet and find out some simple phrases and just use them, or use something like Google or Bing Translate. I think it's Bing Translate, but you can use that as well, and that'll help you out. And from my personal experience, when you can connect with someone, even if you're just saying basic things in their language, it opens them up a little bit and makes things a little more cordial and more friendly. When in Cairo, oh my gosh, traffic is chaotic there. So I was with my children, and I would say my biggest worry was crossing the street with my children, because there's nothing like, cars stop or anything like that. So cars just drive, and you gotta just make your way across. Find a space, an empty space or clearing, and just make your way across. You know what it's like? If you ever played that game that was on Atari back in the day called Frogger, and you gotta try to make your way across the street, that's what it's like in Egypt. I didn't drive. I don't think I can drive in Egypt. You basically just put your car where there's space and you just go, 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 go. So it is chaotic. So if you're thinking about driving in Egypt, Cairo specifically, I would avoid it. And then please be careful when crossing the street. Please be careful. Don't find yourself bouncing off the hood of a car. So when you are in the tourist sites, you'll find vendors, and more or less they're trying to hustle. They're trying to make a living. Over the past 2 years, things have been hard for these people, so they're hustling even harder. So there's a possibility that you might experience someone trying to hassle with you, trying to hustle with you, trying to haggle with you to get you to buy their stuff. It's nothing personal. It can get frustrating. I personally didn't have too much problem with people hassling and haggling. From my experience, if you say a few words in Arabic to them, ana asif, mish ais haga, people tend to back off a little bit and leave you alone. If you are in the market for something, if you want to buy a nice souvenir to bring back home, or if you catch something, never accept the first price, because you're going to get the tourist price, and it's probably going to be at least double, even more, what the actual selling price is. So it's fully expected for you to barter and for you to negotiate the price and drive a hard deal. Try and bring it down as low as possible and be willing to walk away, even if it's something that you really wanted to take back home or give as a gift to someone. Don't accept the first price. Another thing is carry cash. There's places where you can use cards in the tourist places, but you need to have some cash on you. I'm not saying carry a whole lot of cash, but carry just enough to get yourself some food. If you need transportation, get some transportation, and so on. You'll find that there's many places, especially in some of the smaller areas, where they don't take card at all, and there may not even be an ATM in the area. So make sure that you have sufficient cash on you, and that's goes for anywhere that you're traveling. You always want to have a little bit of cash on you, just in case, whether it's emergency or just to buy some of the stuff that you need. if you haven't seen the videos that I published, my sons and I, we visited multiple cities. So we started out in Cairo, we went to Luxor, then we went to Sharm el-Sheikh and back to Cairo. So there's many ways that you can travel to these places. You can catch a felucca, a boat. You can ride the train. You can get a taxi or a private car, and you can fly. So to make things hassle-free, my sons and I, we flew all over the place. The flights are very, very cheap. I think we were flying between the cities for like equivalent to like $50 US. It saved a lot of time. And again, like I said, it was pretty much hassle-free. Now, if you have time in your hand and you want to make the most adventurous trip as possible, then feel free to catch the train or book a private car, or Uber, or whatever to take you around. But if time is of the essence, then I would recommend you fly. They have Nile Air, they have Air Arabia, Egypt Air, and so on. And the flights go back and forth for very cheap, and they're really quick. Like to go from Cairo to Luxor is like a 45-minute flight or so. So another thing that might worry some people is crime. People wondering if they're going to be victims of crime when visiting Egypt. So from my experience, from talking to people, from what I saw, I didn't see any crime. Crime is low. And from what I heard, the punishment is harsh if you commit a crime and you get caught. So yeah, I'm not saying that you don't have to worry about crime, because crime exists everywhere, and you should always keep your eyes open. But it may not be like some other countries where you visit, where it's just lawless and you have to have your head on a swivel, looking around, making sure that someone doesn't come up and mug you or rob you and so on. But from what I've heard, from what I experienced, crime is low. Another thing to keep in mind is that when you're flying into Egypt, you're going to need a visa, and there's two ways you can do it. You can do the e-visa online. The link for that is in the description of this video, or you can do visa on arrival. The visa on arrival is very easy. After you land and you pass through, right before customs, there's like these group of banks, and you go there, you give them your passport, and you pay $25. So my sons and I flew in at different times, and it was so easy that my 15-year-old son was able to go and get the visa on arrival himself. So it's nothing to worry about, nothing to stress about. But if you want to have it before you land in Egypt, then you can go ahead and do the visa, the e-visa. But it's nothing to worry about. But just keep in mind that you're going to need a visa, and it's going to cost you equivalent to $25 US. And the last thing that I had is that within like the cities, Cairo, if you want to get around, Uber is available. They also have taxis. My experience when going to foreign countries, especially if you're a foreigner, tourist, you'll never ever get the same taxi rate. One taxi driver may try and charge you a sky-high price, and another may be more reasonable. So now if you're using something like Uber, you know exactly how much you're going to pay, and you know that you're on the right route because the app shows you where you're going. And then also if there's language difficulties, you can just type in the name of the place you're going and the address, easy enough. So for commuting around the city, you can use Uber. Those are some random tips that I had that I wanted to share. All in all, the trip to Egypt was amazing. I'm so glad that I had the chance to take my sons there, and we got to experience Egypt, Cairo, Luxor, Sharm el-Sheikh, learn about the history, see some of the important World Heritage sites like the pyramids. It was a really good trip, and it just made me happy that my sons were able to experience that, as well as myself, because it was something that was always on my to-do list. And I hope that these tips I gave you were helpful. If you haven't seen my videos, please go back and watch them. And if you have any questions, comments, go ahead and leave it in the comments box, and I'll try and reply as soon as possible. Thank you.